Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Yeah, it's been a minute, but you know what? We are here, we are back, and let's talk about October. So I had a rough month mentally, so yeah, we read like 20 books. So let's just go through everything that I read this month. It was quite a bit. So I have a lot to talk about. So I'm just gonna dive right in. Okay, so the first book I read this month was Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. I actually read this in a vlog that will be coming out, but this is a romantasy that recently got traditionally published. I really don't know how to explain this. Basically, she wants to become a warrior, but she is kind of like discovered, but she doesn't really know what she is. She's kind of discovered at like their enemies town thing, and she has to kind of like figure out what going on and why that happened, what happened. I'm not the best at explaining this, partially because I thought this was a little underwhelming. A lot of people on TikTok have been loving Metal Slinger. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was as good as people are saying. It was entertaining, and I do think a lot of the talk about the plot twists and stuff like that is really starting to give it away. Like, I kind of was able to not pick out exactly what was happening, but kind of got I was so apprehensive of certain characters because of what's been said about it, and that ruined the experience, I think, a little bit. If you don't know anything about it, I think going in and reading it would be really good, and you would probably enjoy it a lot more than I did, but just because there's so much talk about it, I was like, okay, that was fine, I guess. Then I read Thorns and Fire, which is the second book of The Ashes of Thesmar. I also read it in that vlog, and guys, I'm so excited. I found out literally right after I read this, the third book is actually coming out next week. I could have swore it had been slotted for 2026, but we are getting the third and final book in the Ashes of Thesmar trilogy next week. I'm so excited. I just love this universe. I talk about Helen Scher all the time. I feel like I love her. I love her universe. I love her characters. I love her books. I gave this 4 stars. Like, it wasn't perfect, but I just love these characters too much. Like, I just love them. Okay, then I read Spellcaster by Jamin Eve, and I got this at Target. I was walking around trying to find some more books because I was in such a romantic mood. I was like, let me see what's going on. And I do think this edition is really pretty. The edges are sparkly. So I read this and the next book I'll talk about in that vlog as well. And this basically is a college setting. It's like not gothic, maybe a little dark academia. And the main character, girl, what is her name? Okay, whatever, I couldn't tell you her name. But basically she gets accepted into this advanced magical college where her dad works, and she doesn't know what her specialty yet is. Her dad like warns her off like this guy at the start because he's like, oh, his dad is our arch enemy, blah, blah, blah. But there's also these monsters that are like coming out of nowhere. And for some reason, the guy that her dad warned her about is like kind of protecting her. Logan. This writing though was giving like CW show. Like, it was really immature writing. There was a line or two where I was like, why would you say that? But honestly, it was really entertaining. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was nothing special. I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you wanted kind of like a palate cleanser from romantasy with romantasy. Like, if you mainly just read romantasy and you want a palate cleanser within the genre, this is something that I would go with. The sequel doesn't come out for literally ages, so I doubt that I'll end up reading it just because I literally already can't even remember the FMC's name because it was so just like not rememberable. It was entertaining for sure. Then I read The Monster in the Last Blood Match by K.A. Lind, and I gave this 1.5 stars. It was so bad. Okay, so basically, but this party is so insane that was entertaining enough that I'm kind of thinking about reading the second one because the second one came out like last week, so I'm like, okay, it's kind of fresh in my mind, and it's literally such a fast read. The premise is really interesting. So she's human, and there's this like blood matching thing, and they're trying to start this like new program where you get assigned to a vampire like permanently instead of just like kind of switching around. So she gets assigned to this like powerful like CEO vibe. Well, not CEO, but like C-suite vibes. But he's not drinking from her, and she's like, why are you drinking from me? And he's like really hot. But the toxicity in this book it got to a point where it wasn't entertaining anymore, and it was just so annoying. Like, the writing wasn't good, and normally I can get past that if the plot and characters were good, but the characters were not good. Raina, the main character, was so immature and no backbone. Like, it was a vicious cycle. And then Beckham Yeah, he was just too toxic. It was a nightmare. And the plot twist at the end was good. And that's probably why I'm considering reading the second one, because I'm like, whoa, like I said, the concept is really good, but the execution is just not good. So I don't know, I'm a little torn up about that. And I'm really confused because I think K.A. Lind has like some other series that are pretty popular. So I'm like, what happened here? That was truly crazy. Oh my God, then I read Bride. And I really enjoyed this. I love Ali Hazelwood. Everything that I read of hers is like pretty much an automatic 5 stars. This is the first time where I felt like I was giving automatic 5 stars because I just love her so much. But I did really love these characters though. So Serena is half human, half werewolf. And so she's kind of like really hunted by the general public. The werewolves, the vampires, everyone wants to know more about her. So she goes into hiding, but then there's like an attempt on her life. And so Cohen, he's a pack leader, comes to like come get her and is like, okay, you kind of got to come back, we got to figure out what's going on. So she stays with him like for protection reasons, but they're mates. Yeah, I think you find out at the beginning they're mates. And so like, but he is like, I just want to let you know, like nothing's ever gonna happen. And she's like, well, fine. Obviously the tension in there is crazy. So good. And then, oh yeah, and then there's a whole storyline about misdiagnosing women in medical fields. Such good representation of that in this book. Like every diagnosis she gets, they're like horrible diagnosis, and then they tell a woman and a woman is like, oh, I know what's going on. Actually, I know exactly what's going on. It's literally, it has great rep in there for that. As someone who's been misdiagnosed by multiple doctors, I felt seen by Serena. I did feel seen. And I love them. I love Ali Hazelwood. Like, I will always love her. And that's all that really matters. Then I read The Darkening by Sunya Mara. I think I am going to read the second one. This is a duology. This is the Fairy Lou edition. I used to be a YA subscriber back in the day, but I stopped subscribing because they only really did colorway of the covers. Now I think they almost all the time do fully redesigned covers, which I love, which is why now I'm subscribed to the Romantasy box. But at the time I was subscribed to the YA box. Long story short, I've had this for forever and I'm actually so glad I picked it up. It was a little insta-lovey, but the universe was very unique. I liked that and I really loved, there's an arc between the main character, Vesper, and Cass, who he's like kind of on the other side, kind of like they're like reluctant allies to friends, which I love. I loved that arc of like them becoming understanding of each other. I love a good side arc, side friendship, side character. Love that. This is a very unique magic system as well. There's a storm that if you go in, you come out and you have like kind of like a mutation almost. It marks you some way, and the king, queen, I forgot what they call it in here, her son leads like the people who fight against the storm, and there's special magic where you draw the marks to cast the magic. Vesper in this has learned it through her dad, which she shouldn't have. And so when her dad dies, she goes in to kind of infiltrate and figure out what actually happened and all of this stuff. It's a kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a little romance between the two main characters. And I did like that. I do think I'm going to continue it. I just keep putting it off. I've just been all over the place with my reading. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. So then I read Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood, 5 stars, duh. It was a little underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. It was shorter than I would have liked for her novellas. Vampire Slayer hits his head, loses his memory, wakes up to the vampire that he's been chasing for decades or whatever, centuries. He doesn't remember who she is, and she's like, well, I gotta help him. Like he doesn't know who he is. It's just like a little short story about her helping him get his memories back. It was really cute. Then I read Fall I Want by Lyra Parrish, and I ended up giving this 2 stars. I was so excited for a little fall book. I think this cover is adorable. And I thought the tropes would be really fun. It was fake dating, but I think in the end there was just way too much going on. There was fake dating, even though, to be honest, there wasn't really, they were like fake dating for like 2 or 3 chapters, and then they were already like making out. Like, girl, you're not even fake dating anymore. Like, what? Stop hiding. Like, what? Hate to Love, question mark, again, made no sense. Like, I don't think they ever explained why he was rude in their first interaction. Billionaire romance writer needing inspiration, multiple cheating exes, a sister that legit tells prophecies, witches casting love spells, FMC dreams about the MMC for years before meeting, multiple weddings, and like more things. Like, there's just too much going on. It got to a point where I was just shaking my head and like half of it didn't even make sense anymore. Like the last like 75 pages were plots resolved, resolved, they're together, they've been together, and now it's just 75 pages, which I think if I really loved a couple, I would love like an extra 75 pages of them just being happy. But for this, I was so over it. Yeah, because it's hate to love. He's mean to her at first, but then he pursues her. Why were you mean if you're just gonna turn around and pursue her? It did not make sense, and I fought with that for a bit. So 2 stars. I'm not gonna read anything else from that collection. 'Cause turns out I thought it was a series by her, but no, it's not. Which, by the way, it's tees up like another couple at the end of the book, which is in a completely different series. But then when I read the description of that book, it made no sense based on the way that this ended. So I'm just gonna step away from that. Then I read My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. Oh my god, so fun. Laugh out loud funny. It was silly, cute, cheesy in a good way. I really enjoyed this. This is about Cassie. She needs a new apartment. She moves in with Frederick. He is a vampire who was like asleep for ages, so he acts like really old-timey. And she's like, what is going on with this man? Like, what the heck? She moves in and then she ends up, you know, kind of trying to figure out that he's a vampire, and then yeah, kind of helping him adjust. And it was just really fun rom-com. I really want to read the second one. I think the cover on the second one is so cute, and I loved the side character in this that is the next book is about. So I'm excited for that. I am going to read it, but really fun rom-com for Halloween. Then I read Kill Creatures by Rory Power, and to be quite honest, I mainly picked this up because the cover is gorgeous. And I used to be really into mystery thrillers, so I also wanted to do that. This one is a really short one, and it wasn't my favorite YA mystery thriller, but I didn't predict the plot twist, so I have to give it props for that, because if I can predict it and it was just mediocre, then I'm over it. But yeah, I did not predict what was going on. This is about Nan, and her 3 friends go missing like one summer the year before, and then the next year at like a memorial, one of them comes out of the lake, and Nan's like, that's not possible. I'm the one who killed them. So it was pretty good. I mean, it was entertaining, 3 stars. Like, yeah, I just think this cover is so gorgeous, and that was really one of the main reasons why I picked it up. Then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace, and I love Hannah Grace. I gave this 4 stars. It was really close to being a 5-star, but there was a few moments that like really put me off the dynamic between Hallie and Henry. Like, most of it made sense, but then there was a weird like point at the end of the book that I gave it 4.5 stars in my review. It was really close to being a 5-star. Their dynamic and their communication is supposed to kind of reflect between like a people pleaser, eldest daughter, anxious girl, and a on the spectrum ADHD boy, and respecting boundaries and stuff like that. However, maybe it's just because I didn't relate to either of them, and that's possible why like I just like felt like the communication and dynamic was off a little bit for me. But basically, Hallie needs inspiration for her book. Henry needs help with his writing professor, and so she helps him, he helps her, and they have a really cute friendship. That's the thing, is I really did like them, and of course I love the Found Family. I love this series. Like, I love the Maple Hills group. Like, they were really cute most of the time. There were just a few instances where I was like really confused as to why it went down a certain way, or like it just didn't make sense to me, but otherwise it was still really good. I love the series, and I'm really happy that I finally finished it out, and now I can pick up her holiday romance, so that's exciting. Then I read Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorick, and I mainly picked this up because I really want to read the Legacy series, and I know this series comes first, and I feel like so many people talk about how good it is. And it's basically about 3 assassin sisters. One of them, something happened, and now she is like placed in a lord's home. The whole reason why things were happening was because kids in the dark area of the town, I forgot what it's called, were disappearing, and so now they start disappearing again. So she's trying to figure out what's going on while also training with the guard now. Maybe my expectations were a little too high. However, like, if I'm being completely honest, this is really just like a ripoff of Throne of Glass. I saw some review on, I think it was Mariana on Goodreads, saying like, just because there's similarities doesn't mean it's a ripoff. Girl, she's an assassin with white hair who she's not, like, the plot line for the first Throne of Glass book is that Celaena's fighting to be the king's assassin, whatever. But she's the most feared assassin in the land. Miss Girl's a white-haired, most feared assassin in the land. And then after book 1 in Throne of Glass, it follows like a different kind of plot line. This plot line, like, she has the same discovery that Celaena has. Oh, and guess what? Magic it is. don't piss me off. Like, to be very brutally honest with you, like, there's a different, like, if you read a book and you're like, wow, this feels like a ripoff, then it probably is. Like, if you're reading a book and you're like, oh, this reminds me of this, like, oh, like, they're so similar, but like fun, like, I like that. No, I was reading this and I was like, okay, so she took Throne of Glass and said, let me make it my own. I'm going to give the next book or two a chance because I heard so many good things about the series, but it was pretty underwhelming and yeah, just an over-exaggerated version of Throne of Glass, to be honest. I have the next two books. I'm really indecisive about what I'm gonna do because after I bought them, I have had them sitting and I haven't had the urge to pick them up, but I really do want to read this series before the Legacy series. But what's her, Cassidy from, I think it's Covers with Cassidy, is that her name? Anyways, she said she DNF'd Lady of Darkness, but she read the Legend, she loves the Legacy series. So that gave me the confidence to maybe possibly DNF the series. She DNF'd after book one. And you know what? If my diva did that, then maybe I will too. Then I read Willing Prey by Ali Oleander. This is the Probably Smut edition. As you know, when I get the Probably Smut editions, I use the tabs and sometimes I'll annotate. Yeah, I almost skipped my subscription this month. Wow, to think I did that. I gave this 3 stars. It was honestly a lot of fun and had great humor. I loved the side characters and I laughed out loud while reading it and it was just honestly a good time. This is I checked trigger warnings. This is a very, not dark, but unique type of romance. That's all I'll really say. Willing Prey though, and she's in the woods running, so I think you can figure that out, but he's obsessed with her. Yeah, he's like obsessed with her. He's obsessed with her and she has an ex-husband who, by the way, the guy, and I've seen this, he's like a lawyer, he's a partner or something. He's a partner at some business, whatever, rich. And her husband is like, her ex-husband isn't even a partner. It never will be. Loved it. Loved it. It was just so fun, honestly. So then I read The Wolf King and the Night Prince. I've been really on my romantasy shit this month. Okay, I read The Wolf King and the Night Prince and I gave these 3 stars each, but I think this one is leaning more 3.5 to 4 stars. This is a wolf shifter romance. The princess of the human territories is kidnapped by an alpha. And I don't want to give too much away because there's definitely some plot twists. Let's just say the Night Prince, yeah. I'm team, oh, I don't want to give anything away. Basically, yeah, she's captured by the alpha and they want to use her to trade for a old wolf heirloom sort of thing to help wolves control their shifting. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's Scottish. Honestly, a lot of fun. It was a blast. I had a great time reading it. I buddy read it with my bestie Amanda. You know bestie Amanda. That's my diva. We're both in romantasy moods right now. So I expect that the next like 2 months I'll be reading a lot of romantasy because we're gonna try and do Covers with Cassidy's romantasy bingo challenge together. So then I read Amid Clouds and Bones. I gave this 3 stars. Really solid standalone romantasy. Definitely if you prefer a darker MMC, this would be for you. Solid plot twists as well. This is about the half fairy daughter of a human king and she is arranged to marry the Seelie prince who has a reputation for being heartless. Yeah, some crazy stuff happens. Not gonna lie. Good plot twists, solid. I feel like that's all I really want to say because I try not to give too much away. 3.5, maybe 4 stars. Like I rated a lot 3 stars this month and I feel like I want to emphasize like not in a bad way. Just like, yeah, solid, good. Enjoyed it, solid, would recommend. Not one of my favorites, not like amazing. But yeah, solid, good, standalone. And I like that standalone romantasy. Like that is perfect for me right now. I have so much that I'm in the middle of. Then I read Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I gave this 3.5 stars. I kind of had a lot of thoughts. The plot was very original. World building was very original. Vibes, ambiance, loved that. Setting as well was unique. Oh yeah, there's a trope in here that I hate. However, in here, and if you're a loyal follower, subscriber, viewer, you might know what my least favorite fantasy trope is. They do it in here, but she and the man are not aware that they did it. So do with that what you will, but I'll let it slide for now because it was done a little bit less offensively. Not offensive, but I meant like Whatever. The plot was pretty interesting, though. I think there was a lot of subplots that fell through that could have used a lot more, like her parents and her sister. This is like Caraval. If you like Caraval, this is the adult version of that. In this one, like there's trials every night and there's 9 trials. I think it would have benefited from being cut down to maybe 6 or 7 and then taking that and instead putting more content of her and her parents, her and her sister. I think that would have really benefited. It suffered from not having more development with those subplots, if that makes sense, and side characters. I think that's really all I have to say about it. It was fun. I'm glad I read it. I will not be reading the second one because you don't get enough of Genevieve, her sister, in this to really care about her next book, I think. Like I don't really care. I'm probably not gonna read it, but it's literally giving Caraval because the second book is about Tella, not Scarlet. So whatever. Anyways, then I read Falling by Christina Lauren. This is part of that collection with Ali Hazelwood, and I loved this. I gave it 4 stars, probably 4.5 stars. It was so good. I loved it. I thought the writing was so good. The concept was really good, really interesting. I love the characters, which is crazy because this book is like 56 pages. This is probably one of the best novellas. Well, no, I love Ali Hazelwood's Loath to Love You novellas, so I gotta pause on that. This is up there with them. I really liked this. Actually, maybe I should move this to 5 stars because I really did enjoy this. I thought it was so cute. It's such a fast read, but it's like perfect for the holiday spooky season, and I just really enjoyed it. So I do recommend, if you have Kindle Unlimited, download that. And it comes audio as well. So if you're an audiobook listener, all of the collection, I believe, comes audio as well. Then I read In the Dark by Chelsea Curto. I love Chelsea Curto, okay? She wrote the DC Star series. I loved this. It was so fun. I gave it 3.5 stars, but leaning towards the 4, I gave it a 4 on Goodreads. I love her, and I should have known that she would write a good dark romance because I am a dark romance girl in the sense that, like, I love a little darker. I love when things are, I think I enjoy dark romance. Don't like non-con, okay? And I don't like when the MMC is awful to the FMC. Like, it can be a dark romance without you being a horrible person. This was so good. It's about a girl and a scare actor. Perfect for the holidays. I read this yesterday on Halloween. Well, I started at like the 30th, finished it on the 31st. Yeah, really set the mood. And then then I read Phantom by Greer Rivers. I think I gave it 3 to 3.5, maybe 3.25 stars. And again, another dark romance that does it right. Like, there's no evil non-con. Like, he's not horrible to her in both of them. Actually, yeah, in both of these books, yeah, there's some stalking. But it's done in a really respectful, I want to take care of you kind of way. And I'm into that. Like, is it a crime to want a man to be obsessed with me? Anyways, so this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling set in New Orleans. Really interesting vibe, kind of giving Mafia vibes as well. That is the last book that I read this month. My camera's about to die, so I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. Like I say this every video, I have multiple vlogs that I'm filmed. I'm hoping that I can actually get to editing more this month. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love every single one of you guys so much. Thank you for sticking around. That's that. I'll see you when I see y'all. Yeah, and I love every single one of you. Bye.